When people think of gospel music, usually it uplifts the listeners with spirit and joyfulness. The lyrics share a powerful message, but there's much more effort and layers in the process as a whole. But did you know that there's gospel music in the beautiful city of Milwaukee? Hi, I'm your host, Gabrielle Nasby, and this is Gospel in the Mill. Hello and welcome to Gospel in the Mill, a show where we shed new light to the impact of genre brings to the community. There are lots of different elements and roles such as artists, radio personalities, and many other talents in the city of Milwaukee. Today we'll be visiting with a choir director as well as a TV personality and a live performance. But first, we will take a look at a quartet who is famously known in the city.
Originating from Mississippi, this quartet gospel group is well known in the city of Milwaukee, performing in various areas. This is how the fabulous Luckett brothers came to be.
Well, back home, when we was coming up, my mama would have us singing on different events. All of the brothers come together and sing, and it just continued on. You know, very young. We started out very young.
In gospel, we got started at a young age. We got started, matter of fact, my mother was taking us to church every Sunday. Matter of fact, we went to church every Sunday. And whenever they had programs, she always would have us on stage singing. I think I was probably like about 8 or 9 years old. I was on stage singing.
Through my mom. She started us out when we were kids, and we was as like Easter program. During Easter programs, we would do, like sing. Back then, they call us the Lucketts, you know, as a group.
We used to make us all sing, and we was brought up in church, and so we had to sing. We were little kids, but started from, I think from my older brother down to the youngest one.
My oldest brother started us out years ago. It was back in, first time he had us, got us together was back in '58.
I came in town in 1964, and I've been with the brothers ever since then.
After I came from the South, I started with them myself. It was December of '63. That's when I started with them. They was already, you know, established as a group when I got in the group on this end.
And that come around back to my older brothers, and you know, when they got to Milwaukee, they just joined that Luckett brother together and gave it that name, just kind of connected that name all the way together. They started singing. They would sing before me, because I'm one of the younger ones, and I came to Wisconsin, then I ended up getting in the group, and we just carried on, kept the word going, kept singing and praising the Lord through song. So I'm happy they continue to hold that together when I got to Milwaukee, I had always wanted to sing. So I just joined the group. They asked me to, come on, you want to sing? Yeah, I want to sing. So I got with the group, and when I've been with them, before we recorded a record, we didn't have a record out when I first started singing with them. But I've been here ever since, trying to uphold the word.
Who were some of the groups? It was a group that was called the Northern Wonders, I believe. The Supreme Angels. And there was others which I, can't recall all of them name by name, but there was other groups that we was actually performing with, along with, like on the Sunday nights, sometime through the week.
The key groups, well, the Luckett brothers been around for years, and Holy Gospel Singers, they've been around for a long time.
Canton Spirituals, the Mighty Clouds of Joy.
I think it's really good. It's getting there and going in the right direction, and we got a lot of work to do, but I think it's going in the right direction.
There's a lot of young artists coming along. They're behind the Luckett brothers. We started like years ago. I'm going back we started like 58 years ago. And then now we have a lot of young groups that's on their way up.
Well, I hope that it would continue to get strong, because like I say, it was strong back during the time when I first came here, and it seemed to be actually holding up. So my hat's off to the ones that actually enjoy gospel, which I do, and I'm sure that there are others that as well. So I hope they would continue to do what they're doing.
Wow, the fabulous Luckett brothers really had a rich history of spreading their passion around the city. I definitely grew up hearing some of their beautiful messages through their songs. Our guest today is a famous independent gospel artist herself. Welcome now to the studio is the wonderful Yvonne Hai. Hi Yvonne, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for asking me.
Thank you. So tell me, how did you get started into gospel music?
Probably when I was about 8, I started my first group. I grew up listening to gospel. My mom was a gospel singer. We went to church, and it was there that I became interested in singing gospel music, because pretty much that's all we heard in our homes, because my mom sang gospel music, and one of her favorite artists was Mahalia Jackson.
Wonderful, how nice. And can you please tell me, when did you first discover gospel music, at what age?
Again, about 8. I started my first group, and we were called the Singing Angels, but most people would probably not say we were angels. But we were very angelic in our ability to deliver gospel music in front of large audiences as well as small audiences. So it was fun.
Good. I'm glad you're getting the experience in, but how long did it take for you to get experience into this passion that you are in?
Well, most people that sing gospel, just like other genres of music, you want to be known. I mean, you sing, and you sing the good news of Jesus Christ. That's what gospel means, but you want to hear yourself on the radio. And so you do those things that would bring you in front of those audiences or connect you with those people. Like Dr. Bobby Jones is one of the people that we are all influenced with his show on BET. Yolanda Adams is one of the other gospel greats that I have actually shared the stage with, I produced as well. And so Daryl Coley, who's now deceased, but that's how I gained experience being exposed to other gospel greats.
Do you have like a favorite memory that you ever done in terms of like your very first performance, your recent performance? Is there an unforgettable memory you remember by?
I do. In 1976, the bicentennial year, we had an opportunity. I graduated from North Division High School, and Arlene Skorowski, who was our choir director, who taught me my first true gospel song, what we would call being able to belt it out. And the first gospel song she taught me was Going Up Yonder, and it was a challenge. It was a Tremaine Hawkins tune. And the first time I tried to sing gospel from that perspective as what we call belting it out was in 1976, and we sang at the White House lawn during that time, so when I was about 16.
And did you face any types of challenges when it comes to anything particular with your singing, your performance?
Actually, no, and I can say that it's because it's about training. I also attended the Wisconsin Conservatory of Music, where I studied voice, classical music with Miss Prusing was my first classical voice teacher. And then I studied with Martha Artis, who's a jazz artist as well. And so I guess development, getting the right training helps you to prevent like what they call nodes on your vocal cords. And so I worked at singing properly. So not really.
And what do you think about the community of the fellowship that's happening around here with the gospel tied to Milwaukee?
Well, presently, I would say that, you know, because of the pandemic, it has slowed my performance down. It's simply because I didn't want to be in an environment where I had to sing with my mask off. It became challenging, but I think, you know, it's on the rise again where people are not so fearful, and I think we're seeing more performances now.
Do you have like a favorite, like #1 favorite artist, a gospel artist that you adore the most? Do you have an inspiration by someone?
I would probably have to say Shirley Caesar, who's very impactful. Her stage presence is amazing. She knows how to captivate the audience, get them engaged. She's very engaging. And so I would have to say, overall, I would have to say it would be Shirley Caesar.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Yvonne High, for sharing your gospel experience here with us. And thank you for sharing your culture as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Next, we will be visiting a choir director from St. Paul Church of the Firstborn, Angela Ellis Gordon, who has been the director for 38 years. Let's take a look at her journey.
Well, I started in music when I was 3 years old. My mom put me in front of the congregation, and what she did was had me sing solos for the people at our church, and she always liked for me to sing the songs that her brothers wrote, and that was the fabulous Luckett brothers. And so from the age of 3, that's when I started in music, and so I love singing in groups, and then afterwards I began to direct a choir at the age of 12. I started as a choir director because one of our choir directors decided to pursue another avenue. Her husband ended up starting another church, and so at the age of 12, she decided to hand the church down, well, the choir down to me. And so ever since the age of 12, and you know, that's when I started to direct a choir, and so I've been doing it for approximately 38 years now. The age range of my choir can range anywhere from 3 years old until you can't walk. So the reason why I say that is because, you know, the doors to the choir is always open, and my concern is that making sure that people are able to express themselves and be able to worship God. And I don't limit anyone from, you know, coming to join the choir, and so there is no, you know, age limit really to the choir at all. Anyone can join the choir. Sometimes, when people, hear a familiar song, I'll invite, wave them down from the congregation to see if they would like to join. Anyone can join the choir. And like I said, I'm more concerned about people being able to participate during the service, and then also it is a part of, the healing process. I feel that the choir is a ministry. The first thing I saw in choir is the unity, and I really love, getting together, having rehearsals, arranging the voices and so forth. But also, I don't want people to forget about the musicians. The musicians are very critical to making sure that the choir can execute what we really want to execute. And I just really believe that, the choir is a very important piece of a church service. What I see today is that, choir is a little bit more modernized now. I don't see the traditionalism there as much, simply because, we used to wear robes, when we would sing in the choir, but now you see people, in their blue jeans and, their white shirts, and everyone is, wearing maybe sneakers or something like that. So I do see a huge change in that. And sometimes what I feel is that, some of the choir members, they may get lost in the music and not necessarily listening to the message. And so, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or anything like that, but I do know that, with choirs and the way choirs were then and now, just the message is definitely different. I really, hope that, people are more listening more to the actual words of the song versus, worried about that beat. And, everyone likes a nice beat, and that's completely understandable. Even when I was younger, I really loved that beat. But, at the same time, gospel songs are definitely trying to give a message. The one thing that I would love to share with, gospel in Milwaukee is that we have a plethora of hidden talent. And so we have a lot of people here in Milwaukee who have not had that opportunity to express themselves and their talents. And I also wanted to say that, the choir just doesn't necessarily sing in the church atmosphere. What I do is with my youth recreational outreach ministry is that we go to hospitals, we go to nursing homes, we, try to spread the gospel that way. We go out into the community, into homeless shelters as well, and we sing. And that is just our way of, contributing to our community as well here in Milwaukee.
What a great inspirational story of how Angela got started and continues this day of her leading the choir. Let's check out this last individual who happens to be an entrepreneur and a radio personality on WNOV. This is Michelle Pitts.
Well, my journey started with gospel. I was a arms baby. Listen, at the time, my dad was a pastor, and my mom and dad started the church in the basement of their home, and there was his sister and his brother. And of course, from there, the gospel was on. My dad had it, my mom had it prior to my being born, but yes, that's how I started the gospel. The culture of gospel, I would say it is foot stomping, hand clapping, and glorifying God. My earliest recollections about gospel in the city of Milwaukee was when I was about 13 years old. My dad, my dad was, oh God, he loved the gospel. He loved God. He loved anything that was connected to Christ. He loved it. And that's when I became very familiar at the time, again at the age of 13 years old, when my dad would go, he had a couple musicals he would attend, and I was right there knee-high with my dad clinging on to his pants. Some of the radio stations back then, the one that I really remember is WAWA, Dr. Bob. Yes, WAWA radio. Also, O.C. White, he was around then as well. O.C. White, he was around on WAWA as well. The radio stations of today in the city of Milwaukee is WNOV 860 as well as 106.5 FM. And we also have WGLB, which is 1560, and then we have V100, that is V100.7. The gospel in the city of Milwaukee on today, of course, it is on an uprise, and it is quite exciting, even though during the pandemic, it actually slowed some of the gospel down because the churches was closed and we could not unite together. So because of the pandemic, so that kind of shut us down a little bit. Well, actually a lot, not a little bit. It closed us down a lot in 2020, starting at about March. And so that kind of closed us down, and the gospel itself, musicals are picking back up. But at the time, I'm also praying and hoping that it doesn't slow us down, because the pandemic itself is picking up again.
WNOB 860 AM and W293CX 106.5 FM. The Gospel Angel Miss Sharon right here. I want to say good afternoon to Racine, Kenosha, Waukegan, Beloit, our tune-in listeners, internet listeners, wherever you may be listening. Good afternoon to you.
If you'd like to check out Michelle Pitts on the radio, tune in on WNOV at 2 o'clock a.m. only on Sundays. Now, here to perform Leaning on You, ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany Terry.
Everybody lift those hands. Hallelujah. Help me sing. Leaning on you. Leaning on you. Leaning on you. Leaning on you. Lord, I'm weak and I'm burned out, but I'm leaning on you. I need your peace. I need your peace to cover me. At times, it's hard for me to go on. I cry unto thee. I cry unto thee. Have mercy, Jesus. Lord, have mercy. I'm weary and I'm tired. Just can't make it on my own. I can't make it on my own. Leaning on you.
Thank you, Tiffany, for that great performance. And thank you all for watching Gospel in the Mill. I'm your host, Gabrielle Nasby. God bless you all.